Hey guys, how's it going? My name's OwenAlec, and today on this Rapture review, we're going to be checking out this 14x6 Coke Bottle Acrylic Snare from RT Customs. Let's go. So a couple of weeks ago, the lovely guys at RT Customs got in contact with me and asked if I wanted to review one of their snares. So I had a quick flick through with their Instagram and a couple really stood out to me. But the one that really did, the one that I really wanted to try out was this one. It was an acrylic snare. I've never tried out an acrylic snare before, so this was going to be something really unique for me as well. RT Customs is based in South Wales and they've kindly sent this up to me for me to review and demo for you guys. But even though this is technically a sponsored video, I'm going to be giving you guys a completely independent view on this. So without further ado, let's get it unboxed. Oh, nice solid hard case. You guys can see that there, it's got the RT Custom logo. Oh, the suspense is killing me. Oh, more wrapping, so that's alright. Oh, wow. That's insane. I can understand why they call it the Coke bottle, because it's like that Coke bottle green, and they got the custom frosting on there as well. You can see that on the side camera. Okay, so first impression is just looking at it. It looks like a really nice, well-built snare. I mean, the throw that's on this side, it throws off towards you, and that's not something you typically see. It either goes out to the side or it actually folds away from you. So having it come towards you might be a good thing, also it might be a bad thing. We'll find out in the demo. Like I said before, I've never tried out an acrylic snare before. I've got acrylic drums. I've got these ones I made myself. I'm not a drum maker, but I did make those and they've lasted really well. They've got really terrible cracks in them now, but I'm hoping that this will be made, because it's made by an actual drum maker, it's going to be a much higher standard. This just looks absolutely sick. They did say that they've down-tuned this for shipping, so obviously at the moment it sounds like crap, but I'm going to get this tuned up. But first, let's have some really nice B-roll. So having played around with the snare pretty much all day, also just kind of jamming it out, I even had my headphones in and just played along to a couple of songs. It sounds really good. I was most impressed with the fact that it's just so easy to tune. I got it in front of me and it just tuned up really easily. One of the things that I mentioned earlier on in the video was that they actually, before they send it out, they tuned everything down so that, you know, if there was a problem in transit, everything wasn't just going to go ping. So when I got it here, I just tuned it up and it was dead easy to do so. Bottom head and the top head up nice and tight, and it sounds really nice. I was really impressed with that. Personal preference, I'm not a fan of the fact that the throw comes towards you. I don't know why, I'm not sure if that's just something that I'm not used to, so I would need to kind of spend a bit more time with it and then get used to it. But for the moment, it's not something that's quite my taste, but at the moment it's kind of a small detail. So as of the filming of this part, I haven't done any of the post-production that I want to do. I haven't checked how this is going to sound in the mix and with different EQs and things like that. So that's something that I'm kind of looking forward to. One thing I did notice though, that there was a lot of ring coming from this, partially down to the way that I've tuned it, but I wanted to kind of let the drums sing. I wanted to kind of get it out there. That's why I didn't put a drum dot on or anything like that. I wanted you guys to hear as much of this drum as possible. Just a quick spec on what heads they are. We've got a Evans G2 coated on the top, and then a Hazy 300 on the bottom. Now, typically I use the Hazy 300s myself, so I know exactly how these are supposed to be tuned and how they're supposed to sound. And I was very, very impressed with it as soon as I got it tuned up. For the snare wires, we've got the Pure Sound 20 strand stainless steels, and they sound really, really nice and crisp. It's giving a really nice attack to the drum, but not too much buzz or anything like that, so it's a really nice combination, I think. One of the things that I don't have on my current snares are triple flanged hoops. Now, this was something that I noticed when I was using one of my friend's snares for my latest single, Dark Desires. I actually borrowed one of his snares and it had triple flanged hoops, and I was able to tune it a lot higher than I can do with my usual VKs. And this was something that was very attractive to my ear because I wanted something that was going to cut above the other guitars and the keyboards that were in that track. So being able to tune something up like this is going to really be able to have your snare and your sound kind of sit in the top of the mix. So now we're going to pass it over to future me, and I'm going to let him update you on how this sounds in the mix and how it was to EQ it. Over to you, me.
Thank you, Pastor Owen. Me. Either way. So this was actually pretty easy to EQ. I didn't really have to do much out of the ordinary than what I usually do for my regular VK snares. Unfortunately, I've not quite got this set up yet so that I can show you a proper screen grab and you can actually go hear the audio yourself properly, but I'm hoping to get that set up fairly soon because I want to do a full video on how I mix my drums. I think that'd be really educational for you guys, so let me know if you want to see that in the comment sections below. Now, as I said earlier on in the video, this snare does have a lot more ring to it. It's able to open up and breathe a lot more. Now, this was something that I'm not used to when it comes to mixing, certainly. I was very cautious about just being able to take out the horrible frequencies and leaving in those extra frequencies that are kind of giving it that characteristic. So with that in mind, here is a screenshot of actually what I ended up doing for the EQ. As for compression, again, nothing really particularly out of the ordinary, what I would normally do. Again, you can see all the settings here. But over the past year or so, if not maybe a little bit longer, I've been doing a lot of ghost notes in what I'm playing, so I don't like to gate the snare track. So I just leave that open and let it do what it's doing. As for the bottom snare, again, same sort of procedure. You flip the phase and then you EQ it. I like to try and take out a little bit more of the low end because it's going to get a bit of bleed from the kick drum. So I'll take out a little extra low end. I'll dip the mids a little bit, take out any unwanted frequencies. But then the top end, I like to still have that snap to it. So I'll sometimes boost it, but if it doesn't need it, then I'll just leave it where it is. Obviously, I'll always put a low pass on it as well, just to take out those extreme highs, because they can become sometimes unpleasant, especially when it's stacked on top of all the cymbals and things like that. You can really get a little bit too piercing. So other than that, I add a little bit of reverb just to make the snare sound a bit bigger. Then I'll blend it into the mix, and here's what it sounds like. So in the two examples that you're about to hear, I've done a full mix and then I've actually taken out the rest of the instruments so you can hear the drums on their own. This is all processed so you can hear what it's going to sound like in context. Hope you guys enjoy it. overall, I'm really happy with this snare. I'd give it a solid 8 out of 10 because it sounds really good, the hardware does exactly what it's supposed to do, and it looks badass. If I was to come across this snare in a shop or something like that, then I'd definitely be tempted to buy it myself. Like I say, it sounds really nice. It does everything that I would want it to do for my style of music. So how much would a snare like this set you back? Well, it's currently up on the RT Customs website for just under 250 quid, which personally I think is really good value for money because acrylic itself isn't cheap, and then all the man hours that's gone into it to actually make it look as good as it is, get everything to fit correctly, and again, such a really well built snare, 250 quid is an absolute steal. Now, because this is a custom snare, there are a few things on it that I would change if I was to order one myself. The main thing being something that I'll get into with the pros and cons is the throw. So let's look at the pros. Aesthetically, it's pretty unique. It's not every day you come across an acrylic snare that's got the custom frosting on it, but also it's a coloured acrylic snare, so if you were to buy this for yourself, it's really going to make you stand out. It's incredibly easy to tune. I had no issue whatsoever with getting it up to pitch and pitch matching each of the lugs. I also did use a drum dial just to kind of get it in that sweet spot, but then I always tune it by ear to finish it off, and it sounded really nice. Again, something else that I mentioned earlier on in the video is that it's got triple flanged hoops, which allowed me to tune it a lot higher than I can do with my VK snares. Now the cons are essentially just down to personal preference. There's nothing really about the actual makeup of the drum that's particularly bothering me. The main thing was just the throw on this side. I didn't really like it throwing off towards you. I prefer it to either go away from you or off to the side like my VKs do. But I'm sure it's something that I could get used to. Also, the actual positioning of the throw, I would prefer it to be one section over, so it's one bit closer to you. Now, I'm sure you're just going to say that, you know, why don't you just turn the snare so it's a little bit like that and then it's on this side? Well, that means then the badge is off to one side. Now, I'm not exactly OCD, but stuff like that does kind of bother me. So I would much prefer it to have the badge facing front. Also, so people from the front and in the audience, they can see who's made the snare, so it's good promotion. But the main reason why I like to have the throw just one section round is so that I can get to it a bit easier. If you're in a rush to, because you're trying to flick it on and off pretty quick for a certain section, you don't want to be faffing around trying to reach around the snare to get to the throw. If it's right in front of you, it's dead easy to access. Other than that, I'm super impressed with this snare. I wonder if they'll let me keep it. But thank you very much to RT Customs. It was really nice to demo this snare. You can find links to all their social media and the website where this very snare is up for sale. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. See you in the next one.